What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It's time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych. We got a very exciting show ahead of us talking about Severance Season 2, Episode 8. Benji Wyatt, the cat, is fired up and ready to go. Joining me, as always, for our Severance pods, I have Rachel Leishman. How you doing today, Rachel?
I'm fine. I finally have a little bit of a voice, so that feels nice. I haven't had a voice for like a week.
Where'd you lose it? What were you doing?
I was at the Critics' Choice Awards, and halfway through the night, felt my voice leave my body, and everyone thought I was upset about something, and I had to just be like, my voice just went away. I don't have one anymore. And they were laughing at me.
Happy it came back just in time for the podcast. We got Rachel coming to you live from the living room and coming to you live from the office. We have Leah Marilla Thomas. Welcome back to the show for the second straight week. How you doing?
Doing great. I've commandeered the cat. We're ready to go.
I can't believe how just willing he was to just sit there like this. Look so happy and ready to go.
Because he's a pandemic baby, so he's trained to do exactly this. Yeah, now he's not happy.
Absolutely hilarious. I love it. We'll see if I can get Shadow to come make a cameo during the show. And joining us as well, because one Rachel is not enough. We needed to bring in two. And so you may know her from just last week, coming on our Invincible podcast as well. Rachel Tolleson, welcome to the show.
Happy to be back. Happy to be here. Great
Happy
day.
to have you back. I feel a little bit like the odd one out, since the three of you are the best of friends hanging in New York, and I'm just all the way here in another country by myself. But I am still grateful to Rachel.
Boo-hoo, you have health insurance.
True. That is absolutely true. I will cry myself to sleep and then, make it better when I go and get my free health care to fix my ailments. But I am grateful to Rachel because she introduced me to both of you a couple New York Comic Cons ago. And so now I get to call you both wonderful ladies, my friends, as well. And I'm excited to break down this episode of Severance with the two of you. Rachel T, I'll throw it to you first because we haven't gotten your thoughts on Severance Season 2 as a whole so far on the podcast yet. What do you think about the season?
Oh my God. It's so good. Like it is like we were talking about earlier before the show. It's like I feel like it got better. And it's like it's nice that there was such a gap in between the first season and this one to like gather up an audience, which I feel like if this show had premiered to like the same audience that it gotten in season 1, that would have been so sad because I don't know where this there's so much good about it. There's so much imagery, there's so much symbolism, there's literally constantly something to dissect, to pick up on in the background, and it's just breaking me every single week.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit off screen, and I actually think like the 3-year gap between seasons benefited this show for gathering up the audience, not for the viewers, the viewers who have been there since day one. That sucked for you guys, I'm sure. But for gathering up and building this large audience to turn season 2 into just this phenomenon that everybody seems to be watching right now and talking about it online. I couldn't agree more. Rachel, what are your thoughts? Rachel L, I gotta specify this time. Call you Leishman and Tolleson. What do you?
Whenever I'm trying to get her attention, I just call her Tolleson.
What did you think about episode 5? Which you cheated. I felt like you cheated on me because you watched it a week early with the screeners, but now we finally get to talk about it.
Here's the thing. I was so happy to do that because I had so many questions after the week before. And I finally got my Burt and Irving. I love that scene so much. I love them. They're like, people found out our innies were having an affair. Now I'm interested in what the big deal was with us. And I liked this episode as a whole. I think you were saying earlier that this season is really good and it's almost at times better than the first. And I agree because in watching the first season, I remember me, Leah, and our friend Marika were like, yeah, let's keep going. And then it hit a certain point and we were like, oh, I want to keep going. Like, I want to know what happens. But there were those episodes where we were like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know what's going on. Where this season, and maybe it's because I liked the show in season 1, but this season has made me, I've not had that where I'm like, well, whatever, I'll catch up in 2 weeks. I'll catch up later. I've wanted to watch it every single week, even if I was being kind and not watching them in one go and watching them slightly earlier in the week, minus this one instance. But yeah, I like this episode a lot. I think this is a good, like, it's not even the middle point anymore because 4 was, but a good like start to the second half of the season.
I agree with you both completely, because season 1, like, even though it's great television from the beginning, it takes you 3 or 4 episodes to figure out what the hell you're watching. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know what kind of show you're really watching until halfway through the first season. Leah, what did you think about Severance season 2, episode 5?
I kind of like this episode better than episode 4. And and because as much as I appreciate episode 4 as like a weird little side adventure storytelling lore in of itself, this is continuing all of the storylines. There's really good, like, meaty scenes. And yeah, to say what we've all been saying, I was the person dragging my feet in season 1. I was like, there were other shows I would rather have been watching. I was really hesitant with it. And then we get, in the first season, the Burt and Irving relationship, the Mark and Helly relationship, the Gemma reveal. And those were the things that brought me in. And all of those get such great little, not payoffs, but like moments in this episode. So exciting to see.
Rachel, how about you? This season has gone like a little bit. I agree with Leah. Just it's gone a little bit better with each episode. I think I might have even liked 5 more than 4 too. What do you think about episode 5 specifically?
Which Rachel?
Yeah, which
T,
one?
Rachel T, I'm sorry.
You already answered. You already answered.
We both did. We went after each other.
Listen,
No,
I'm
but she was doing the
curious.
season as a whole.
That
Oh
is
my
true.
gosh.
That
Okay,
is
go
true.
ahead.
Okay, anyway, I am with Leah on here on this one. It is honestly better than episode 4 just because now we're starting to get into it. Like, I feel like episode 4 was the ramping up point. Now we're like just about to jump off. We're getting there. Like, this, there was so much going on in this one. I was like, this dude is out here whistling the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald in what looks like some sort of like morgue. What could this possibly mean? Because it has to mean something. I've been like reading up on like little theories. I'm like, I don't understand any of this. I don't know what's gonna happen with it. But yeah, it was like I was so happy to get to see Burt and Irving back. I was very curious about what was gonna happen because that was the ship in season 1. I joked about it and I said, what if they got together? Would that not be funny? And then 1 episode later, they did. And I was like, oh, okay. So I have a little bit of fondness in my heart for them. But I was just so curious. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have a little not a menage a trois because, you know, this is Severance, but
You never
they're gonna
know.
have a little meeting.
Fields
That's
might
true.
be down.
Fields. Every time you say Fields. But no, it's
Fields.
my husband Fields. I was hoping he'd say my husband Fields one more time, but I was like, damn, he's not gonna do it. But no, we're getting to see more than just like the severed floor. Like everything is kind of starting to come together and interact, and it's scary. And I'm thinking about the review part with Milchick and how I'm also doing my own reviews for my day job, and I'm like, this is awful. Why are we doing this right now? Why do I have to be experiencing this in 2 different aspects? But no, it's good. It's so good.
It doesn't matter how good of a job you think you've been doing. As soon as you're under the microscope, shit gets scary. As soon as somebody's looking at every single move, dissecting it and evaluating it, it does get scary. The episode starts with, like we talked about, the export hall. They got some dental equipment, some little scalpels that they're bringing through to the export hall. Very big morgue vibes, like Rachel said. And I did see the same, like a similar theory on Twitter, where because of what he was whistling, someone was like, oh my gosh, Kier is cryogenically frozen because this song is about people who are, their bodies are frozen and forgotten about in, what was it, Lake Superior? I don't remember.
Lake Superior, because it's about the Edmund Fitzgerald, which sank in November of 1970 something. I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, it's basically to theorize that like because one of the lines in the song is literally like Lake Superior never gives up her dead, because they're all still like perfectly preserved down there because it's so cold. So I saw that theory too, and that's what made me go, oh, okay.
Is this the place where they just takes people after they've died in real life and they just freeze them and hold on to them so they can do some experiments? It's definitely an interesting theory. Rachel L., what do you think about the beginning of this episode? Do you have any theories of what exactly is going on with the export hall?
No, as always, I never have theories with this show because I'm like, they're smarter than me. If I start theorizing, it's going to be dumb as shit. I'm going to be like, well, I don't know. Maybe he's building a robot, and that's not what's happening. Like, no, whatever theory I think I have, it's not. I ignore it because that's not a thing. Everyone else writing the show, working on the show, creating it is smarter than I am. So my theories are what I vibe with it. Like whatever's going on, I'm just gonna vibe. I think
Giving big Mark energy right now of Lumon is smarter than us. I have nothing. They're better at this. They see everything. I have nothing.
if anything, I'm always gonna be like an Adam Scott character. I'm like, whatever. But I think this episode, my theory is that the lady, I'm a great, I can reintegrate you person, even though I've done it once and it was bad. Lady, I think her and Mark are going to like not communicate and something bad's gonna happen to Mark is my only theory I really have. Because they were having a little tense battle in the beginning of this episode.
They were. Reintegration is already starting to get tough for Mark, bouncing in and out. He's got his pills. He's having a tough time. Leah, do you have any theories with the export hall? Or this was one of those cases for me where we got more on it, but I didn't get any answers. I just got more questions.
Yeah, so I didn't initially recognize that song, and I didn't have Twitter to go to, so because we're bad people and watched it last week. So I didn't find out what the song was until today. I was like frantically trying to like hum it into my phone and like searching. I was like, is it a sea shanty? Is it a Civil War era song? There's lots of Civil War imagery on the show. Nope, just good old Gordon Lightfoot. Canadian. And so that's interesting because Canada exists now, we know, in this show, because there has been some weird stuff about how many countries are in this world, because I think at one point they say that Lumon has offices in a number of countries that way exceeds the number of countries in the world we live in. So Canada's one of them. And there's also lots of theories about this being an alternate history, but now we know that the divergence point should probably be after the 70s if it's referencing this song and this historic event. Interesting stuff. I do think, to tie in what you were saying, Leishman, I do think that lady worked in the exports hall. That's a theory that I have.
Ooh, she's been there before. She's
that
not
she's
just
that she's been there before. Like that specifically is where she has been before. If
like
she,
that.
Yeah,
Rachel
creepy.
Leishman, have you ever heard the story of the Grakschuppen?
No.
This, I think, might have been my favorite scene in the episode, where the gang is confronting Milchick. Dylan G is just going full on "Where's my boy Irv" mode. Helly is back and has no idea.
Wait, what did he say? He had a really good line. Like everyone is yelling.
Answer my question.
Oh yeah.
He had like 7 lines that were hilarious.
Excuse me.
Fuck my fuck.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that made me laugh.
Oh, Dylan.
We got that. I think this might have been my favorite scene of the episode, where he's talking about the Grakschuppen. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I spelt it phonetically in my notes. But getting to see Dylan just go off about Irv and the whole team. Milchick's in over his head right now. Like, he does not have a handle on this thing. Rachel Leishman.
Yes.
I
agree. Agreed. I was like, yes, agreed. No, I think Milchick is feeling the pressure because he has his review. which isn't great. They're basically like, you're compassionate. Sus. And like, to be fair, they threw that man into the deep end. They gave him 48 hours to try and put shit together. He did it. It didn't work. He then had to get rid of the people that he got for 48 hours to come and be Lumon employees. Figured it all out. Almost killed Helena Eagen. Turned her back into Helly, and somehow it's all his fault when it's like, no, I think no one at Lumon knows what to do, and he is just the collateral damage.
When we were getting to see the pieces of that scene and of just like Helena did not want to go back down. She did not want to go back and either fake it or be Helly again. I thought that was really telling as well. Leah, I'll throw this one to you and feel free to give your thoughts on that previous scene also. But I thought it was really telling how, like, it's not just her dad who doesn't really give a shit about her. She's kind of getting treated like an employee and not the heir to the throne by everybody here.
Yeah. I mean, and on this point, I don't blame her. If I was in her position, I wouldn't want to let my innie out. Let your innie out. Either. Because she tried to kill her. So I understand the hesitation
on her life while in there now.
Yes, that is very interesting. I have to wonder if it's gendered. I also have to wonder if that Drummond guy is in the family.
That's what I was wondering.
I think,
Yeah.
Because doesn't he say like father? I don't know.
She refers to him as father and then to him, and then he calls him father right back to her.
Yeah, so that's interesting, but he has a different name. Yeah, I also noticed in the Milchick scene, he does not get to finish explaining what the Glasgow block is. He gets interrupted before he fully explains what that means. So if you had any kind of questions about where that team building exercise took place and how they're able to be severed outside of the office or, and outside of the overtime contingency, you didn't get an answer. He tried, but he got interrupted.
Dylan D was like, nah, answer my question.
No, excuse me. Yeah, I like Milchick a lot. He's becoming my favorite character. I think I said that last week. I feel bad for him. He's just doing his best.
Rachel T, have you heard the story of the Grakschuppen? What did you think of the scene with Milchick, them all confronting Milchick and Helena's refusal to go back in until the company says, like, nah, too bad.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of the Grakschuppen. I was like, this is fantastic, this is great, but no, that whole scene, just getting to see more of like Milchick and getting that pushback and seeing that, he's really kind of just doing his job. He's trying to do his job. He is not doing his job very well, and he's starting to kind of see what's going to happen with that. And it's a nice little commentary too on just corporate America in general, where your bosses don't give a shit about you. Like if you are not performing to their standards, like they don't care what minor goods you've done, like what progress you have made. If it's not the progress or the standards that they want, they don't care. So we're seeing that. And we're kind of getting a little bit more sympathetic to him. And plus, I love that one of his complaints against him was using big words. And that is quite possibly the funniest thing I think they probably could have put in the show. Because then he just goes off and starts doing it again. Like please, never change. Just keep it. I love your voice.
It makes sense. It makes complete sense, but it didn't actually clue into me at the time that all of those anonymous complaints all came from Miss Huang. That they were talking about that in the behind the scenes afterwards. Like those anonymous complaints were Miss Huang complaining about him.
Like she's 12. I don't trust her. Like when she was like, "You're treating them like they're people," I was like, "Girl, you're 12. What do you know?" Like, damn. Oh
That
no, she's
like
sus as hell. I do not like
she is
her.
tough as hell, and that like that's another part of the behind the scenes post credit stuff. Ben Stiller was talking about Miss Huang, and he was literally like, we just kind of thought it might be funny to throw in somebody younger and like have a young adult be here. And I'm sure there's more to the story, but the way he was like explaining it, it kind of just sounded like they're doing it to fuck with the viewers and have this be like nothing of significance other than just to fuck with us. And I think that's absolutely hilarious. Rachel
I subscribe to
Leishman,
that.
Miss Huang we see a new side of her this episode. She's dark. She's dark. She's questioning Milchick. She's saying these are not even real people. She's dark.
Yeah, when she also clued into the fact that like people have died on the job at Lumen, because she was like, I thought this was only when an innie dies, because they do the like rest in peace Irving thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many people died going into work? Like, what is it? The goat people? Like, in what Lumen department is it dangerous enough that you could potentially die? Maybe someone just like had a heart attack in the office and people saw, and like that person died that way. But it feels crazy. But also now I'm thinking about like if I had a heart attack as an innie, but then they had to take me and my Audi like was feeling the pain. It's craziness. But it makes you think, because she was like, that to me was the most vicious thing she did in this episode, where she was like, this is only for when they have to watch somebody die in the office. And it happened enough times that there was a protocol for it.
She doesn't give a damn about those innies. She just wants to play her theremin. Is that too much to ask? Is to let this girl play her theremin, Leah?
She practiced. That was so lovely. He said, you can play it for me later.
And Leah's like, Mr. Milchick, I will play anything for you later that you like, because you are the coolest.
I'll play the theremin. You're my favorite. Yeah, also the way she said, may I say a question? That's kooky. That's not how English works.
There's something off about her. Like, I don't know what it is.
Something's not
I mean,
right.
obviously, right? But
Something's
like,
not well.
Mhm.
Rachel T, do you have any idea who the hell Miss Huang is or why she's there?
I don't know. I fully just subscribe to the theory that Ben Stiller is just fucking with us and just throwing in some like younger character. But also, like, I feel like she is there to kind of keep things in check because things went so wrong at the end of season 1, and they had to kind of like bring in somebody who could rein things and see things from the inside, because I just don't think they trust Milchick at this point.
Gotta bring in the big guns. It's time for the 14-year-old to come in and crack the whip on the innies.
You keep changing how old this child is, because you were
I
like,
didn't say that was
12.
someone else who said 12. I didn't say
I said
12.
12. It was me. I said
Okay, I
I
was
said
like,
she's
the
12.
age of this child just keeps going up.
It's 2 years
don't
over
care.
the course
like-
of the
It's
season.
25.
It's such a real
old.
thing. It's a metaphor for a real thing that happens. You know, you work long enough in this world and you'll show up one day and there's someone you cannot believe is your boss at their age. This is just like the extreme version of that.
Yeah, like
That
this
used to happen
17-year-old in
all
the
the
show.
time when I worked in a restaurant, like throughout university. There's just like all these servers who are so good at their job and who have been at this place for like 5 to 10 years, but then they're trying to groom a manager for the future, and so they're throwing in like some 20-year-old who just finished hostessing as the new manager that's directing all of these professionals essentially. And it's the worst. It is the absolute worst. Rachel Leishman, in my notes,
Yeah.
I have, and I apologize saying this to a big Adam Scott fan, but I have Mark Hess as being a bitch. Because I totally understand why he is traumatized and betrayed
Do you?
towards Helena and
Said
Helly.
he's a bitch.
But my man, be nicer to Helly. She's going through a tough time too.
No, because they don't know. They don't trust the bitch because they trusted her. She raped him, and then
Wasn't her though.
listen, if your rapist had a twin, you would be suspect of the twin, and that is essentially this. He knows it wasn't her, but it's also like, I don't want to see your face. Like, no, Mark is right to not be on her side.
It's not just to her though. He's being mean to Dylan. This whole damn funeral for Irv, Mark S is just the whole time bringing things down. He's not even supporting the cause anymore. He's not even out here like, I gotta be with my friends and we gotta dig into this. He's just shutting everybody down. And Leah, I got no other way to describe it than Mark S is being a bitch.
Well, he's processing. He's processing quite a lot. And as we saw a couple episodes ago with his sister, he's not super good at processing. Actually, as we've saw through the premise of this show, he's not good at processing. He's putting himself in order to avoid dealing with his wife's death. So he's not that great at like emotional stuff. And this is a little bit of Mark Scout's personality seeping into, whether it's through technology or it's just who he is, into Mark S. And he's not dealing with that well. He doesn't trust Helly. I think he's disappointed with himself that he didn't recognize Helly was not Helena. And so then what does that mean for him and his Audi and everybody else? Like, it's throwing his whole worldview off. Yes, yep. Rachel.
Heard my cat. But
yeah, he's meowing it up.
Do you think that that Mark Scout's personality is coming through because of the thing? That like the reason that Mark S is acting this way is because Mark started to reintegrate.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Never mind.
I said like through technology or not.
Though, okay.
I agree. I do think that's happening. I think that is a great point from you both because he is changing. We see him fully change back later in the episode.
Well, and then also Mark S does not know that he's being reintegrated. Only Mark Scout knows that that's happening.
So he's probably just got this like
he's just like, what's happening to me?
That he has no idea where it came from. Essentially,
he doesn't deserve it.
Feeling down, feeling depressed. Rachel T, I want your thoughts on the funeral scene with Mark and his rudeness with Helly and rudeness with Dylan, but also because you, I actually can't even remember if it was you or Leah before bringing up the timeline where this diverged from like
that was
history.
Leah.
Yeah. I think this is interesting because we saw, assuming that quarters, yeah. Oh, you were just saying you. I got you.
The banner. Yeah.
Assuming that quarters are a quarter of a year, like, and it's 3 months, like it is in real life.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying that Lumon has been around for over 200 years.
Jesus.
Because Irv was there from quarter 870 to 882. So assuming that Irv was there for 4 years because it's a quarter of a year, if that's the same time frame. That's saying that Lumon has been there for 220 plus years.
That's a lot of math.
Just division. I just had to do 882 divided by 4.
I'm a writer and I'm a mathematician.
Yeah.
No, I do genuinely want to know like what time frame this story is set up in. It is driving me insane. I'm like, what year is it? I need to know. They're driving cars that are from like the 80s. They got these boxy ass computers, but they have this technology. It's like I was like, oh my god, there's payphones now too.
And like cell phones. Now that I'm thinking about it,
they do have cell phones.
Do they?
Oh yeah, they have smartphones.
That's it. Yeah, okay, I remember that. Yeah, and I was like, I have this timeline. Like, it's not one of those things. I'm not one of those people that's gonna get hung up on like the little minutia shit like that. But I just want to know what is going on. Where do we diverge? Like, that's a good point. Like, at what point did I'm assuming the United States become not the United States, and we get this dictator, godlike figure in here? Like, I don't know. But anyway, back to Mark S being a little bitch. He was being a little bitch, but I do agree with both of you. He is bad at processing, and that is why he is being a little bitch. That is my whole thing. The entire time I was like, bro, get it together. Stop reacting and like start thinking. but he can't. And it is a good point. Like, it is because of the reintegration. Like, he is no longer just Mark S. Like, Mark S was a completely different person. So now he's becoming a little bit of both of them. So he's kind of like bucking against like the feelings that he's getting from Mark Scout and going into everything he's doing there. So it's going to be interesting to see like how he handles conflict moving forward. The more the reintegration process goes on, like especially at the end of this episode, like I feel like it's probably not going to be good.
Some interesting theories in chat that they think Irv is a rogue agent who's been researching Lumon secretly in the Audi world, which we have seen him doing, but he thinks that Gemma was sent to Montauk, and that's why Irv was seeing that name Montauk, and that's one of the places that he is investigating as well. Ghost MKC says it's a fantastic episode of drama. It was a really, really strong episode of television, and I'm realizing now as I'm getting messages from Ava, my partner upstairs, they've said that Irv has been with Lumon for 9 years. This was stated in season 1. Irv was there for 9 years and Mark was there for 2. And so apparently 9 years equals 12 quarters, which is very interesting. So now that's going to be doing that's going to be some tough math, but I'm basically getting that. Long story short, Lumon has been there for a long ass time. And let's talk about Irv, because Rachel L, obviously we're really excited to see the Irving and Burt reconnection here. But we get some good Irving moments, even though we don't get to see his innie throughout this episode, because he's leaving notes and he's leaving intel for Dylan G behind the scenes, even after he's gone as well.
Yeah, he is. I love that Irving and Burt came together. Crazy to learn that Burt didn't actually retire. That he got forced to retire because him and Irving had a relationship, which is interesting. So is Lumon just homophobic? Because they said in the past, innies like have had full affairs, like have had children together, all this kind of stuff. But then these two men love each other, and then one has to get fired. The optics aren't in your favor there, Lumon. They're not in
Yes.
Maybe it's because of Field. Maybe Field is a higher up at Lumon, and he didn't want.
I'm going to eat those words because Leah said that she thinks Fields is Robbie Benson, who I'm very excited about. Yeah, you did.
I think Robbie Benson is somebody different every 5 minutes, apparently. Because didn't I say I thought he was Dieter Eagen last week?
No, you said I think he's his husband.
Great.
And I said, do they recast him from that other guy? Anyway, I love Robbie Benson. For those who don't know, Robbie Benson is the voice of the Beast. Famously in college, he taught at my college. And he left like the year before I got there. And all of my professors said, I'm really glad Robbie is not here because he would hate you because I love Beauty and the Beast so much. So I hope Robbie Benson is a great character, and I want to one day talk to him and see if he does hate me, just to like find out if my professors were correct. But anyways, I love that storyline. I think it's really cute. I love that scene of their Audis like kind of coming together and realizing that they have a weird chemistry, like even as they're Audis, like they still have that chemistry. And I think that's really sweet because we don't get to see the Audis of these people interact with each other to see how it actually is, like if that dynamic is still the same. And so it's really nice that it is for those two.
Leah, what's more likely? Dylan G's innie having an affair with his Audi's wife, or an Irving, Burt, and Fields throuple?
Oh boy. I mean, I feel like I would have to say the Dylan one, but I feel it could go either way.
What did you think of Irv's arc throughout this episode? He's leaving notes for Dylan. His Audi's still. Who's he talking to on this page?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Who's he talking to? Who is he investigating with? He's so much cooler than any Irving. Like, it's like the opposite of most of the other characters who are like a little bit dorkier on the inside. I guess not.
Yeah, Irving was kind of like
Or,
the nerd,
you know what I mean.
dorky guy on the inside, but on the outside, he's going full secret agent mode.
Yeah. Yeah, what a lovely scene. What a lovely, like, they have such a natural chemistry. Christopher Walken just sort of like laughing at himself when he says, I know where you live. It's very sweet. And yeah, I'm interested to see how this dinner goes. Like, I'm also, they were going on vacation to Milwaukee. Just like Severance is so good at these little throwaway things. Like, who's going on vacation to Milwaukee? Who is like excited about a trip?
Christopher Walken.
Are you just waiting?
That is the most Christopher Walken shit I've ever heard. Is like, I'm going on a vacation to Milwaukee. I'd be like, yeah. Okay, Christopher Walken. Sure.
Where are they going in Milwaukee? This is my question. This is my burning. I must know. Where are they going?
Name you.
Other than the Milwaukee Bucks basketball team, I couldn't name you a single thing that happens in Milwaukee. Like,
I have no idea what goes
nothing.
on there. That's not my part of the Midwest. No, that's Wisconsin.
Yes, Wisconsin. I don't even know.
Rachel T, do you got any guesses as to what the hell Irving is up to? He's talking to mysterious people on the phone. He's painting the export hall over and over and over again, trying to bleed it into his innie's memory. What the heck is going on with him? And what do you think is going to happen with Irv, Burt, and Fields? Our guy Fields.
We love Fields. No, I kind of feel like, what if he knew something beforehand and was like, I don't want to. No, not Fields, Irving. I mean, Fields could. Hey, listen, we don't have Fields yet. Fields could be anybody.
You can't underestimate what Fields may or may not know.
His name is Fields. Like, come on. We don't know what
last
Fields
name or first name. Do we know?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Just Fields. One
Just
name.
Fields.
Like Cher.
Was it like Burt Fields? This is his husband.
Is this like a Mario Brothers thing?
Fields.
His name's Fields.
It's like the kid that
Fields and Burt's
brother went
Fields.
to school with named Thomas. They called him Tommy Thomas.
Oh, rip. That's unfortunate. Okay, anyway. First off, yes to throuple. I want it to happen. Platonically or not platonically, I'm not picky. I just want them to all hit it off. I want them to meet up and I'll just be like, you know what? You're kind of cool. You want to be friends? You want to have some expensive. Okay, first off, we're walking being like, we like expensive red wine. I was like, all right, queen, go off. They can buy you that expensive red wine.
It's that Lumon money, baby.
Literally. But no, like with Irving, it's so interesting to me because I just don't understand like his Audi character. Like, I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, did he get into being a Severed employee as like a mole? Like, does he know stuff? Does he just like, has he remembered stuff over the past? And like now he's like, I'm working with someone to like bring Lumon down. Like, I don't know. I want to know. And I'm so curious.
He said they found out what my innie was doing, which I don't think is true. I think he's just making an assumption.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's just, a lot of
they
like.
Didn't find out what your innie was doing. Pardon me. You tried to murder the CEO's daughter. That's what happened, Irv.
Yeah,
I
like
talk about that because watching. Okay, so I read the thing where Ben Stiller was like, hey, I really want Adam Scott because originally this was supposed to be a comedy and then it like evolved and changed into what Severance now is. And so he fought for Adam Scott to be in the role. I think it is so funny to think about Severance as a comedy when you're watching the like previously on and it shows Irving like, she's her Audi, it's Helena R, and then he starts drowning her. Like, if you think about that as a comedy, it is genuinely very funny when you watch it in the previously on portion.
It's hilarious to think about this. Like, to me, this would even be more like, this would be far more fitting than like The Bear, and if it wound its way into a comedy
God.
category in awards season, because there are those moments where it's just like, to me, so silly of like, oh, that's Fields. That's my husband. That's Fields. Like, I don't know, something about that I find so funny.
Yes.
But then there's also the moments of, did you tell her you fucked her outie in the Ortbo? Like,
Ooh.
genuinely hilarious. Genuinely, like, just made
And
me,
they're this close.
yeah,
I was
they're this close together.
Step back.
Made me laugh so hard.
They told him
And
to stop
also-
using big words.
So he's like, you know what?
Everything that Zach Cherry says too, where it's just
Yeah.
like every single thing that comes out that man's mouth is part of a comedy. He's
No,
just living
literally.
his comedy era.
Like last episode when he was like, "What the fuck?" Like the way he said it just had me going. I was like, "Why is his line delivery so funny? There's no need for this."
If they're
He's
gonna
a
keep
funny guy.
popping Zach Cherry into various MCU projects, I hope when if he shows up in something like Daredevil, where it's TVMA, they just start letting him drop F-bombs and things like that, and just let him go full Dylan G mode in it, because I think that would be hilarious.
Please.
The last part of the
Popping
episode,
Zach Cherry. That's gonna be
The
the name
last-
of our Zach
I
Cherry
wasn't
podcast.
gonna say it. I wasn't
I
gonna
did.
say it. And I'm glad you did.
Zach Cherry podcast coming to a podcast network near you.
Please.
Last part of this I really want to talk about is we get Mark Scout fully reintegrating at the end of this episode, and I thought it was kind of crazy that he essentially just leaves. Like, did you tell her that you fucked her outie at the Ordbo part was actually important for multiple reasons, because one, we got it's hilarious. We have Milchek finally like turning the table of like, I'm gonna be the big mean boss now. But also, Audi Mark Scout had no idea that he had sex with anybody. Mark Scout is finding this out for the very first time, Rachel Leishman.
Yeah, he is.
I just realized that you're the only person I'm not giving questions to, and I'm just saying a statement and waiting for you to continue.
Yeah, well, and you were mean about Mark, and then here's the more trauma added to Mark S, who's been going through it on this damn show. So be nice to Mark, because yeah, he doesn't know that him and Helena Eagen slept together, but his innie is coming to terms with the fact that he slept with someone who isn't the person he thought he was sleeping with, and it's just bad for him all around. Justice for Marquez.
Justice for Mark S. Leah, feel free to dive into your thoughts about his reintegration. But the other thing I wanted to bring up as well from Milchick's performance review that we didn't really talk about is this tension and these moments between Milchick and Natalie. Not only are they so interesting from a storytelling perspective, but the acting, without saying many words at all, between both of them is just incredible.
Yeah. It's so hard to even talk about because so much of it is unspoken. Oh, that was beautiful. Sorry. But yeah, he tries to relate to her, like, seemingly, because they are both people of color at Lumon, but he doesn't say it out loud, and she like does not with words like give anything. She communicates a little bit with her eyes. It's scary. Yeah, that's such an interesting relationship. But in the elevator, are we sure that was Mark's outie receiving that information?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Okay, they didn't say anything in the BTS about that.
No, they didn't say anything about the behind the scenes. It was essentially just that, like, he had the full whoosh moment while he was still in the office, and we didn't see anything switch after that. So essentially, it either would have to be that is Mark Scout finding that out for the first time, or Mark Scout was faking as Mark S the whole time in that day.
I mean,
the end.
yeah, I don't think so, because in the elevator he says Miss Huang's name. He wouldn't know her name. He knows Milchick, like Mark Scout outie version knows Milchick, but doesn't know about Miss Huang. Yeah, I don't. It's that. I'm really like stuck on that because he like starts to reintegrate at the desk and then just gets up and leaves. And I feel like if he was himself, he'd be like, "Oh, got to investigate." but instead, Benji,
Oh, hey, Benji.
what did you think?
We want to hear Benji's thoughts.
Instead, just kind of leaves, like gets up and leaves. It's very bizarre.
I thought he'd be doing some investigating there. Like he's got 6 minutes
Yeah.
till the end of the day. Like to me, that is 6 minutes where I can find shit out inside this building. I kind of thought that's what he was going to be going for, but no, he just clocks out and he's out of there. Rachel T.
Yeah, no, I'm with Leah on this one. Like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of up in the air. Like, it could go either way that he is fully like Mark Scout down there now, but like there's a lot of questions that I have about that, and a lot of what is he doing? Yeah, why did he leave 6 minutes early? Like, he knew that they would find him. Like, you knew that was going to happen. You couldn't just leave 6 minutes early. So, like, did he want to be found? Like, was that on purpose? Was he just thinking he could try to get out of there? Like, I just have so many unanswered questions.
Yeah, like when
Which
he
is
starts
good.
flashing at the end of the episode,
Yeah.
I feel like I have a handle on what's happening then. In the office,
Yeah.
I'm less sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I thought like the way they framed the shot after he kind of like flashed in and out, I was like, oh shit, like he's Mark Scout now, like he's completely like reintegrated. But then it just didn't seem like it, and then we got the scene at the very end. So I feel like probably it's done to confuse us and make us wonder like what actually is real and what isn't real.
Especially right after the Helena R stuff, all of us are trying to figure out who it is throughout the first 4 episodes. And now here, I feel like we could be getting that in and out for Mark for the last 4 episodes. I think that could be absolutely like a parallel to the start of it, with Helena's doing it for Lumon at the beginning and Mark's doing it on behalf of Gemma and the Innies at the very end. And we also get at the very end, Mark Scout, this is my interpretation of it at least, Mark Scout remembers Miss Casey for the first time, and that he realizes like, oh shit, I've been interacting with my wife on the inside. Rachel
The
Leishman was
saddest
at the
face
same...
I ever saw.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah. Like I had no idea, I keep laughing at Tessie in chat right now, bringing up some great points about Lumon being homophobic, but they just keep referring to Milchek as milkshake, and so I can't take any of it seriously. It's absolutely hilarious. Rachel Leishman,
Yes.
was that your interpretation as well? Mark Scout remembering Miss Casey for the first time?
I don't think the first, because he saw I don't remember what her hair looked like when he was sleeping with another woman, but wasn't her...
Because no, like Mark
That's
Scout,
the other way around.
Got
Mark
you.
S remembering Gemma.
Yeah.
This is Mark Scout remembering Miss Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realizing he's been
love this show so
interacting with
much.
his wife on the inside without knowing it.
Yeah, that, or it was like... Well, no, because that's right. He doesn't know that Gemma's in there.
Mhm.
His sister is the one that's like, Gemma's in there. Oh, yeah, I like that theory. I agree. Because Gemma, I feel like if this was Gemma, she'd be like, or not Gemma. What is his sister's name? Devin. If Devin was in there, Devin would be like, fucking called it. Because like she kept pushing that his wife was something in Lumon. But yeah, it was heartbreaking, but also like if this was a comedy, I wish he would be like, God damn it, my sister was right. Like that, like have that like thing. It's heartbreaking though, because it's a serious drama and it's sad. But it would be funny if he was like, damn, my sister was correct.
I love it. I love the just theorizing you can do with the show, and it's a never-ending mystery.
Mhm.
Rachel T, what are your final thoughts on this episode? And I want to know as well, what are your thoughts on what the hell Cold Harbor is?
I'm like, is it gonna take over the world? Like, what exactly is going to happen? Like, I saw someone theorize on Twitter that it was like, was it the theory? It was them like reanimating Kier's like cryogenetically frozen corpse. I think that was the theory I saw.
I think they're trying to either clone or remake Kier because, you know, Mark S is trying to figure that out with Gemma, and I think they're trying to get this down so that they can rebuild Kier.
Yeah, because it's like you go back to the beginning with the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and then going into this, like, it makes sense. And I mean, it's called Cold Harbor, so, and I cannot imagine them trying to be more subversive than that in sort of like a code name. That sounds like something that they would do. But like this episode, so good. I love this show so much. Like I just know, like Rachel said earlier, like it is a great first episode for the back half of the season, and I really think it's going to set the tone. Like I think we are pushing full force, like foot is on the gas. We are not going to be letting up until that very last episode, and even then probably not going to be letting up. So all I really have to say is I hope we don't have another 3-year wait.
Better not be another pandemic and sets of strikes throughout the industry in the next 3 years. We're gonna knock on wood and we're gonna keep that bottled up. Leah, final thoughts on the episode.
Okay, so it's one stray thought. Did you guys notice that Mark said eggnog is out of season?
Yes.
So it's not winter?
I don't. Okay,
But it is.
What time
post
of year is
Christmas.
it?
It's
It's
crazy
cold.
winter. I don't think
It's
you could
Um,
go
the
get it
winter
right now.
since season 1.
Yeah.
Where are
okay,
they?
So that was like such a little
No, the climate
me.
and the not knowing what time frame that we are in is driving
Yeah.
me insane. I need to know. Like the Hunger Games all over again.
I'm so excited to see where this goes, because now
Mhm.
we've got this like Mark S. Innie is so upset that an Audi pretended to be an Innie on the floor, and so are all of his coworkers, and now that's going to happen to him against his will. He's going to be the Audi on the severed floor, and there's nothing he can do about it. And that's like such good conflict. I love it. Poor Devin. Her husband sucks. He is a literal sellout. Really devastating to watch that scene in these times. What else?
I still think he wrote Dieter's story. I think those are his words from the book.
Yeah, that's a really good theory.
The story, like using storytelling to subdue workers, is like
levels of fucked up
communications
better.
theory 101.
Yeah.
Even down to the, can I get the guy's the name again? Who went amongst his people? I didn't write it down phonetically.
Schupin.
Like that guy, a very like it's like Measure for Measure. The Shakespeare play is essentially that plot. It's also obviously the plot of Undercover Boss. So Severance does not take place in a world that has Undercover Boss, if you even care. Yeah, now I'm rambling about Shakespeare. What a shock. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I got a cat. He's excited.
Benji Wyatt's ready to go and excited. Rachel Leishman, final thoughts on the episode and the 5 we've gotten so far.
I want more Burt and Irving. That's all I got. Everything else we've said, it's on the table. But I want more Burt and Irving.
So true. Same here. Give me more.
I did have something else to say. I'm so sorry. I was stalling because I couldn't remember what it was. I saw somebody in the comments refer to either this or the last episode as a filler episode. I'm going to respectfully disagree. Even though last week was a departure, it still advanced the plot. It's not filler, man. It's like we still learned things, character and plot-wise. It's all good.
I will note that they said it very complimentary.
Not a diss.
As not a diss to the episode, but yeah, I agree with you. It definitely brought some new and interesting characteristics to the plot, and with only 3 episodes to go with this series of this season, it seems so crazy. I have absolutely no idea what this is all going to come down to. Will Cold Harbor be completed by the end of season 2? Are we going to see will Mark and Gemma be reunited? What's going on with Irving's side quest to take down Lumon, and will he find himself in a throuple with Burt and Fields in the process? It's all absolutely fantastic stuff. Rachel T, where can the people find you on socials, and where can they find your writing?
Oh boy, you all can find me on Twitter at Tempest Teacup. Below, you find me on Instagram at Just a Waste of Death. If you have blue sky, I'm into the dream. I like to change my handles everywhere so you never know what I'm going to do next.
It was
Never let
so
them know
hard for
your
me to
next
find
move.
you on social media the first time that I met you when I was trying to follow.
Try and tag her and things. Every time I'm like, which one am I going to? What is this?
I'm sorry. I never put my full name, mostly because I don't need that attached to some of my writing. But you find my professional writing at the Mary Sue. You want to find my other writing? That's up to you.
You want to find Rachel's spicy writing? That's up to you.
That's
Leah
up to you.
Marilla Thomas, where can the people find you on socials?
You can find me at the significantly less poetic Leah Marilla on socials. As I've said in the past, I took my Instagram and Twitter private, but you can still follow me. I'm not talking. And my writing at the Mary Sue as well, and Cosmopolitan, Teen Vogue, Polygon, Vulture, Collider, what are everywhere and nowhere. Wherever the wind blows me, and by wind, I mean money.
Love it. Where we got some wonderful theories still going into the YouTube chat. So I want to shout out our YouTube chat for being active and fun throughout the show today. Thank you everyone for watching during and after the fact. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're breaking down your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man every Wednesday, Invincible every Thursday, Severance every Friday. And on Saturday, we got the Comic Corner, and we are only 3 weeks away from Daredevil Born Again, which we're going to be live talking about after every single episode on Disney Plus as well. We got The Last of Us season 2 coming. We got Andor season 2 coming. It's not going to stop. We got great television all year long. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Rachel Leishman, where can the people find you on socials? And you've been doing junkets and movie premieres all like crazy lately. What do you got coming? Where can the people find it?
You can follow me on social media at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, and then Rachel_Leishman everywhere else. You can read my stuff at the Mary Sue and Collider. You can listen to my podcasts, Padre Pascal, the Powell Pod, Cinema Sibs, and the Fordcast, wherever you find podcasts. And look out for, I have stuff about Mickey 17 coming out, a movie I love very, very much. So look out for that.
You find me on social, CJ_Zwarych5. I don't really care if you follow me, just follow the Agents of Fandom. I will have some really awesome, hopefully awesome. I haven't done them yet. Hopefully they'll be good interviews coming out with some creatives behind Daredevil Born Again, dropping in the next few weeks as well. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for everyone joining us this week. We will be back next week talking some more Severance. If the episode is going to be about Gemma/Miss Casey, we're definitely going to have Leah back. But I know we also have
Call that shot.
Crowley of Screen Rant joining us next week to talk some Severance as well. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time. Peace.